The 50 ball is a point total that is often elusive, and some of the best never reach that mark in their careers. All-time greats like Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Garnett, Scottie Pippen, and Magic Johnson never reached the 50-point mark. But on April 3rd, 2024, Malachi Flynn had a different plan in mind. In a visit to Atlanta, 50 points was the total for Malachi Flynn. An 8-point per game scorer who consistently struggled to even get rotational minutes for years, scoring 50. Not only is that shocking in itself, but it's a great commentary on the NBA as a whole and the talent that is within it. Because Malachi Flynn is someone who's not getting a lot of minutes, not getting a lot of games played at all. And when he does, sometimes the results aren't even all that impressive. After this outburst, he had a 1-for-7 game and a 0-for-12 game. Directly after one in which he scored 50 points. But on any given night, someone like him, they have all the talent in the world to score 50, as we saw. And it is just a reminder of this NBA playing field is completely different than your average basketball player. Even guys who are they're almost on the outside looking in, they are still top 1% athletes in the entire world. And Malachi Flynn is a perfect example of that. And there are so many factors that play into a player's success, whether it's their lack of consistency, not being able to hit their shots like a Killian Hayes, being one-dimensional. Maybe they're a one-way player and they don't contribute on both ends to a positive extent. There are so many factors that play besides pure talent that determine a player's value. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the National Basketball Association, these are the best of the best in the entire world. And some cower in the spotlight, but some shine on the biggest stage. When they finally get an opportunity, they are hungry. And that's what we saw here. And it didn't stay with Malachi Flynn for long. But it was an unforgettable game. And perhaps the most shocking performance we've ever seen. There have been other players who've scored 50. And maybe the careers didn't pan out necessarily. You could like a Kevin Porter Jr. But nothing was quite to the level of this. And that talent is not on display nightly for Malachi Flynn, but it is there. It is well inside of him. And he's never going to reach that high again, more than likely. But he gave us a night to never forget. And so we've talked about the talent of players. Now I would like to flip it into kind of a commentary about NBA media. Because so often we criticize, so often we pan these players for the most minuscule things. And I think oftentimes it's important to take a step back and think about what you're doing. A good recent example is the case of the Stephen A., his quarrels with LeBron James. Any criticism of LeBron at this point in his career is largely nitpicking. He has done all that he needs to do as a top 2 player in NBA history. And so in line with that, the comments made about him were largely personal. But in reality, these are all humans at the end of the day. They are uber talented, but they are humans. And these humans are really good at basketball. So when someone like Malachi Flynn scores 50 points, of course there are going to be jokes made about it. But ultimately, it was his crowning achievement in the NBA, one that he's never going to forget. And with that, I think it's important to have a positive focus, a positive spin on NBA media, because so often it's negative and you're pulling at straws over the most tiny things. Remember when Anthony Edwards, his love for the game was questioned? He's obviously very passionate about basketball now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the free throw merchant narrative, when many of the top scorers in NBA history have had seasons with high free throw numbers. And that's just the nature of the game. That's reality. So to instead take a positive spin on that and highlight the players like Malachi Flynn when he scores 50, or just in general, not be apathetic towards the game, not be demeaning towards the game that you are being paid to talk about, but instead be supportive of it. Show your love for the game. Show your passion for the game that they pay you to do so. I'm not getting paid. I have 200 subscribers on YouTube, 1 listener on Spotify, and I'll be the first to tell you that I love basketball, and I love moments like this. And negativity feeds so much into NBA media. It is so often the most popular avenue to criticize players. But in reality, these are people, and they are playing the sport that they love, and you're being paid to write and talk about the sport that you love. So why don't we all just gather together and create something even greater? And yes, you can have your criticisms, but to never forget, at the end of the day, the magnitude of what basketball has done for you. And that we are so blessed every single night to watch the best in the world compete. And maybe it was a roundabout way of getting there, but in my mind, the Malachi Flynn game stands as a perfect example of that. To just appreciate moments like this when they happen. Not criticize him for going 0 for 12 the game after and 1 for 7. But instead appreciate a moment like this and how surprising it was, but how great it was as well to see someone do this. A bench warmer, an 8-point per game scorer, to go out there and score 50 when given the opportunity, because that is the talent that he has. What a night it was on April 3rd, 2024. And when so much of media is negative, I wanted to take a moment to highlight this night. And that's what we're all about on State of the Association. I don't know, this isn't going to get to anyone, right? Progress has been really slow lately, but hey, we're trying to make a voice here. We're trying to make a positive voice. And I really want to highlight the Malachi Flynn game, because what a moment it was, how surprising it was. And it stands as a stark reminder in the face of criticism and controversy and negativity in terms of how so often the game is perceived, how talented these guys are. The fact that they can go for 50 on any given night. And on April 3rd, Malachi Flynn gave us a perfect example of that 1 year ago. And that's all for today's episode of State of the Association. I'm your host, Nash Roberts. Thank you very much for listening.